Hey, Davey.
Hey, Brett, how you doing?
Hey, man, how's it going? Lofa, what's up?
What's happening, boys?
You guys ready to talk some Titans Seahawks?
Oh yeah, it's game week.
I really don't know after last week's performance.
Oh, you don't want to talk about it?
No. I'm kidding.
See,
It's
I feel like you should feel more confident though, if because I remember every time we had a rough game, we had a rough week of practice that led to a better performance. So if anything, we should be a little nervous. That's all I'm gonna say.
I was going to say the Titans have to be kind of hungry after last week, actually.
I sure hope so. And I mean, whenever you look at Mike Vrabel coach teams, usually after such a poor performance, they typically do come back and perform at a higher level. I think Titans fans are hoping that is the case for this upcoming matchup.
No, see, at first, Davey, I wasn't so nervous because you seemed more nervous. Now you're sounding confident. Now
now we're getting nervous.
This whole thing is backfiring.
We'll monitor that situation as we continue throughout the show. I'm interested to see the ups and downs as we go on.
All right, let's start the show. Hit the theme song.
Let's get this crowd going now. Come on, get him up, get him up, get him up. On three. 1, 2, 3. Oh.
Lofa Tatupu is up in the mix.
Go Hawks.
I'm just about that action, boss.
Takes the snap. He's going to throw down the middle. What a catch.
It's intercepted by Lofa Tatupu.
Holy catfish.
Hey, that's great football now.
It's going to work now. Let's keep playing.
Who's got my back? I got your back.
There's Lofa. The player. Triple slant. Thunder. On one. Ready. Play.
Russell looking. Russell scrambling. Pump faking. Still looking. Now he spins out.
We got to fly, baby.
35-40. Down the far sideline. He's still moving. He's going to go. 20. 10. They do it again. Touchdown. Touchdown. Seahawks.
The Seahawks podcast on the Bleav Football Network. Thanks for joining the show. I'm Seahawks superfan Brett Davern. He's Seahawks legend Lofa Tatupu. And also joining us on this show, he's from Bleav in Titans. It's Davey Hudson, also from Fox Sports Knoxville. So he'll be hanging out and helping us break down the upcoming matchup this weekend between our Seahawks and the Titans. Lofa, you ready to go?
Let's do this, brother.
All right. If you guys have thoughts, questions, comments, you can hit us up anytime. SeahawksPod@gmail.com. That's SeahawksPod@gmail.com, or also any social media at Bleav in Seahawks. Actually, before we get going too much here, let me do our sponsors a solid and read what they tell me to read. Intro. It's that time of year again, and all eyes are now turning to football as teams are back on the gridiron to start the football season. BetOnline.ag has got you covered. They're the number one spot for all pro and college football action this year. I know you guys are getting in on it over there, and you can use our promo code Bleav, BLEAV. Oh, sorry, Lofa. That's your line.
Unbelievable.
Sorry. Unbelievable.
Yes.
Go ahead.
BLEAV.
Yeah, you get a welcome bonus at betonline.ag when you use the promo code BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. All right, Davey, let's get into it, man. Titans and Seahawks on Sunday in Seattle. The 12th man will be back at Lumen Field in full throat after a long hiatus, not being in the stadium all last year and everything. I mean, dude, how you feeling? One, after last week playing the Cardinals, I mean, yeesh.
Yeah.
But then also now you got to come to Seattle.
I know, right? That's, for starters, I am glad that fans are back in the stands. I was able to attend some games last year, and it's just not the same. And so I'm really happy that, it'll probably be a lot more difficult for the Titans in that aspect, having the 12th man to go up against as well. But Titans, they had their home opener this past weekend, and obviously things did not go to plan. I know as the Cardinals are a division rival of you all, that is something that the Titans, I thought, with all the hype coming into this season, everyone was expecting an offensive performance, and maybe the defense was revamped. We were going to see a lot there, but really in all three phases of the game, the Titans just came out flat. There was no energy, and the Cardinals really just hit them in the mouth and didn't let up.
What should Titans fans be concerned about with these Seahawks other than the 12th man, you think?
Well, it's all about the quarterback nowadays, right? And you guys have a great quarterback in Russell Wilson. And with the Titans last week, I mean, they were unable to do anything to stop Kyler Murray. I know Wilson is not as quick and elusive as Kyler, but he still has that arm strength that's able to take the top over a defense. And one of the biggest issues for the Titans coming into the season was, how is this secondary going to look? They really revamped that entire unit. They decided that it was more of a personnel issue, not so much coaching. So they decided we're going to go out and get a lot of new faces. And after week one, that game plan is not looking to be the most beneficial move that we could have made. And so if I'm a Seahawks fan, I'm saying just let Russ cook.
Oh no, Lofa, he's trying to jinx us. He knows what he's doing. He's trying to put the
whammy on us,
orca on us or something. Hey, Lofa, what about like for Seahawks fans? I mean, if we're watching the game last week with the Titans and the Cardinals and watching Kyler Murray, like Davey alluded to, like what can we glean from that for our team?
I didn't get to see the game, just saw the updates as I was watching the Hawks pummel the Colts for you guys. So you're welcome for that one, Davey.
Too bad we couldn't return the favor.
Right? But, I think really what the Seahawks have to be excited about is that, we're not too heavy pass. We're not too heavy run. It's been such a good balance, Balance 7, one of our sponsors, that, everybody, you don't know what you're expecting. We could see a run on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, and just that kind of unpredictability, which I think that's what has worried fans in the past, is that we were too predictable. I think that's what we have going for us on offense.
Well, and also the Titans, they had a really hard time getting off the field. The defense did on 3rd down against the Cardinals, and the Seahawks, who had their struggles with 3rd down last season, were actually pretty solid against the Colts on 3rd down. Lots of 3rd down conversions. So concerned about that, Davey?
Yeah. Last year, when you look at it, the Titans were one of the worst teams in 3rd down efficiency. And I believe whenever it came to a team making the playoffs, we had the fewest amount of sacks of any team to ever make it to the NFL playoffs. So that just goes to show you how electric that offense was last year for the Titans. Now, for the Titans, from a standpoint of, on the defensive side of the ball, they made Shane Bowen the full-time defensive coordinator. We were kind of hazy on how those duties were set about last year. But if you're a Seahawks fan, and even if you had struggled with 3rd downs in the past, this is the perfect team to kind of get those things right. But for us, like, I mean, I don't want to sugarcoat it. Like, that's how it is. Yeah. And I'm not trying to overreact after 1 week, because I know that's something a lot of people do that gets you into some issues. But I'm of the mindset, after what I saw last year, what I saw after the first week, until the Titans can prove to me they can get off the field on 3rd down, I'm just assuming if it's anywhere between 3rd and 10 or shorter, they're likely going to pick up the first.
And I'm a true Seahawks fan, because no matter what Davey says, I'm getting nervous. He's like, this is going to be an easy game for you guys. Yeah. I get nervous. He says, hey, we're bringing it this week. Now I get nervous. I don't know. I'm just always nervous.
Well, the thing that I would definitely – I'm kind of expecting – I don't see how this offense can stay as stagnant as they were this past week. And so I do expect the Titans to be able at times to really go back to the drawing board and be able to exploit the Seattle defense at times. Now, are they able to get into a shootout? Because if you're asking me, the only way the Titans are likely going to win this game is if they get into that style of play, and they're just going back and forth. And I mean, for fans, that's probably the most entertaining form of football to watch. So that's something I would at least like to see.
Well, if they do get into a shootout, they're going to have to protect Ryan Tannehill and Lofa. Like, I don't know if you saw, but the Titans, they couldn't protect him this last weekend. Like, the Cardinals had like 20-something sacks, I swear. Every time I looked up, he was on the ground again. And the Seahawks, the pass rush was great versus the Colts, right, Lofa?
Yeah, I think that's actually something that, bodes well for the Hawk fans, is that I knew that the Cardinals were going to be a problem. I told you, Chandler Jones coming back from injury with J.J. Watt on that field with him. Like,
I read a stat. He's on pace. Chandler Jones is on pace for 108 sacks this season. So is that good after one game?
Is that good? I think the number is actually 80. Or 17 games now. You're right. Maybe it is. Maybe it's 85. But either way, it's a lot, right? It would definitely beat the record by 65. But we have pass rush in our favor right now. But it was also, I mean, if we're talking, what concerns me defensively is that they have 2 studs at receiver, in Jones and AJ Brown, and then that O line is good, despite what the sacks say or whatever. it's like the Colts, they just gave up on the run too early against us. They were making some, and like, look, we're about to see the best, in my opinion, the best running back in the game, Derrick Henry. And so I guarantee you he gets the ball at least 20 to 25 times, 20, 25 touches. And it's going to be a long day. We're going to find out what our defensive line is really made of in this game.
Well, yeah, that brings me to my very next thing on the list here, because, we did give up 3.8 yards per carry to the Colts. Like we talked about on the last episode of our show, and it's not a crazy number or anything like that, but it's a little higher than you'd like to see. And now we are going to be facing Derrick Henry. So like I asked you earlier, Davey, like what should Titans fans be concerned about? I mean, what should Seahawks fans really be concerned about with this Titans team? I would think Henry foots that bill a lot.
Yeah, you say that, and I know this team's bread and butter over the last couple of years has obviously been dominant line play, and that's what I think is the most shocking to Titans fans was how this line just came out and they were getting beat each and every play, it seemed like. And, I mean, Taylor Lewan, I know he's coming off an ACL injury, but, I mean, he's supposed to be your stud left tackle. And Chandler Jones, I mean, he even said it, like Chandler Jones, he tweeted out after the game, Chandler Jones exposed me. I don't know why you would tweet that. I would just probably stay off Twitter for a while and get to work, but... That's,
I didn't see that. Whoa.
Yeah, it's not ideal. And so the biggest question for this line coming into the season was who's going to be playing right tackle. They went out and they drafted Dylan Ray-Duns in the second round of this year's draft. They got Kendall Lamb from the Cleveland Browns in free agency. And then David Quesenberry, who's been on the team for a while, ended up getting the start on Sunday. And so you were thinking, well, that's where the Cardinals are likely going to be able to exploit this team. But no, they were just going after your all-pro left tackle, and there wasn't anything he could do to stop it. And obviously, if you're not getting that push, it's going to be hard for Derek, as great as he is, if he's getting hit in the backfield 2 yards as soon as he touches the ball. Like, there's only so much he can do. Now, for the Titans, I'm at least hopeful that A.J. Brown and Julio Jones will come back and be able to really start to showcase their talents, because as we all predicted, Chester Rodgers was the Titans' leading receiver on Sunday. And, I mean, when you're having a guy that you weren't even expecting to make the team initially be your leading receiver, that shows that there's some concern. And so I know the loss of Arthur Smith taking the head coaching job for the Falcons during the offseason was something that we thought might be a little different, but Todd Downing, been in the system, we're like, just don't change things up too much. And based off the talent just solely that you have on offense, you should be fine. And
what's going on with that Julio Jones injury? Is he all right?
Yeah, Julio's fine. I mean, obviously with him and his career, I know last year he kind of was battling some stuff, but it's more just management. I mean, the biggest thing for him was mentally. There was one point Titans had a 3rd and 1. He gets an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, bumps us back to 3rd and 16. And at that point, I mean, the drive's pretty much over. So he had a couple of drops. And obviously whenever you go out and you try to pay for what has been a top 5 receiver throughout the course of his career, you're expecting him to make these difficult catches, and he just was not mentally in the game. And I know that for camp this year, the preseason, these guys weren't able to really get a lot of reps together as far as Ryan Tannehill and his core group of skill players, but you were hoping that, I mean, that the chemistry would start to come together. And so that's, I guess, one of the symbols of, or I guess things of hope that Titans fans are really looking to see as this season progresses.
Well, yeah, and Lofa, we talked about on the last episode, like a little bit of our concern coming off that Colts game is our cornerback play. And now you're going up against A.J. Brown and Julio Jones. And Julio Jones has had big games against us when he was with the Falcons and all that stuff. I am a little nervous that this is kind of a big bounce back game for their offense, especially those receivers, because they're too good to be held down like this forever.
Yeah, law of averages, man. So if they didn't do anything last week, they're going to get back on track, and let's just hope it's not against us. But it's a tall task. Again, as awesome as we're feeling as Hawk fans, and as bad as you guys are feeling as Titan fans, it's only 1 week, and we got 16 more to go. And we don't know who the really good teams are yet. It's just 1 week, so a lot to be discovered.
Well, also, sorry, go ahead, David.
No, I was just going to say, you're talking about like another thing as to why a lot of Titans fans are down in the dumps. I mean, from a collegiate standpoint, we got Tennessee Vols and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Obviously, those programs struggling a little bit right now, so it's like it just goes in from Saturday into Sunday, and so that's one of the things I think got a lot of people upset.
Well, something that's fun, though, is the gadget plays. You guys ran a flea flicker. You ran a fake punt. They were throwing everything they could at the Cardinals, and as a Seahawk fan, I hate those plays when they come against us. We've seen them in the past from the Rams with Johnny Hecker. And it's so frustrating. Should we expect more gadget plays on Sunday?
You know, whenever we were going to the gadget plays this weekend, you could tell it was a sign of desperation. So I hope, and Titans fans are hoping, you're not actually having to see those. Because, I mean, it really just came at the moment where it's just like pretty much, I think the fake punt came. I think we were like at our own 30. It was really just, you got to try to do anything to get it going. And while the Titans throughout the years with Arthur Smith, he definitely had a few tricks up his sleeve in that category. Now, will Todd Downing and the staff draw up a bunch of those types of plays just to try to maybe get things going early, get the momentum? But at a certain point, you're thinking, okay, like, let's just stick to our bread and butter, get Derrick Henry the ball, and he can help open up some opportunities for Ryan Tannehill, because Tannehill, I know a lot of people think about his days back in Miami, but he's been one of the most efficient quarterbacks ever since he's had to start in Tennessee. And so if you could have situations where he's one-on-one with Julio and AJ on the outside, I feel like Titans fans would take that every day of the week.
So if we see gadget plays, that means we're doing good, Lofa. So you see that?
Yeah. Vrabel's not the kind of guy that's going to go to gadget plays just right off the bat. It's like, all right, so you're telling me the run's not working, we're not getting any yards passing, we don't have enough time to protect the quarterback, we might as well go to something else and just see if we can, get a touchdown for momentum or anything. But, that's like he was just saying, if you get the one-on-one, I know we're solid at one corner, and I think this is where Titan fans, have to be paying attention to the matchup of, who we going to double? Is it going to be Julio or AJ? But either way, whoever is that DJ Reed is not on, he's going to need help over there. And I think that's just whether it's a linebacker buzzing underneath to the flats, and so he can just play deep for the deep routes, or he plays pressed up, bump and run with the safety, kind of floating more towards him. I think there's going to be some serious attention paid to both these receivers, and that's where Derrick Henry really worries me, getting like a one-on-one or a 7-8 man box instead of 9 like he's always used to seeing.
Davey, what's going on with the kicking game for the Titans?
I was actually about to bring that up whenever you're talking about gadget plays. It's like you might not see a lot of that, but you might see a lot of opportunities where the Titans are going for it on fourth down. Since 2019, how many different kickers do you think the Titans have had on their active roster?
Oh, since 2019?
Since 2019.
I mean, it should only be like 3 or 4, maybe. It should be like 1, but
I was gonna say 1 or 2.
Yeah,
2.
What would you say if I were to tell you we've had 12 active kickers since 2019?
Active kickers. 12 different
Bill
kickers.
Robinson, red alert. That's not good.
Yeah, it all started, obviously, the Titans organization through Rob Baronis and then Ryan Suckup for a 5-year period. You felt really solid at that unit. And for whatever reason, they've just not been able to figure it out the last couple of years. You look at what has happened with you thought Tucker McCann was going to get the job during the offseason. He gets hurt on a roughing the kicker penalty, ends up getting cut. That happened against the Falcons, and I think that was preseason game number 1. But then you got Sam Ficken, who hasn't been very consistent throughout his career, but he was looking good up until he ends up getting hurt, and he's put on IR for the Titans. And so then we go when they sign Michael Badgley, who was with the Chargers last year. So you have that, and then he ends up missing a field goal, misses the extra point. They cut him. Right now, Randy Bullock is a guy on the practice squad that I'm under the impression they will ultimately sign. I really don't want to look at it. I really just hope I wake up on Sunday and I'm like, I don't have to hear about the kicker at all, because that was one of the things for the 2019 campaign where the Titans ended up just making it all the way to the AFC Championship game. You were just so efficient in the red zone, you never really had to rely on a kicker.
Right.
They were just scoring touchdown after touchdown, so field goals didn't really matter. But obviously, if you're a Seahawks fan and you see that field goal unit come out onto the field, I wouldn't be scared.
Could be an adventure. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, they got problems in the kicking game. And I think also just look for that, you guys, like you said, going for it more often on fourth down, especially if they're on the Seahawks side of the ball, just because they might not be able to rely on whoever they got back there. Balance 7, everybody. Where's my live reach is coming hot and fast and heavy this episode, everybody. Balance 7. Get yourself aligned and get your alkaline in balance. Get your acids down and your pHs up. I'm not really sure how it works, but Balance 7 knows how it works. And so does former NBA player Lamar Odom, because he's using it. We're using it. It's balance7.com. Make sure you use our promo code.
Bleav, BLEAV.
You go to balance7.com. You get $10 off of their 32-ounce bottle, and that bottle lasts you about 11 days. You get $10 off of it when you use our promo code Bleav. Again, that's balance7.com. Use promo code Bleav at checkout. Lamar did, we did, and you should too. Let's look around the divisions a little bit. AFC South, I mean, is that the Titans' division to lose, even with the performance against the Cardinals in week 1?
Right now, the answer to that question, at least in my opinion, is still yes. You look at, I mean, let's take a step back. Right now, the Houston Texans lead that division with the only team with the win, as we all were predicting coming into the year. And, I mean, obviously, the Jacksonville Jaguars, no one's expecting a whole lot from Urban Meyer and his staff down there right now. And obviously, with the Colts, you were expecting Carson Wentz, Quentin Nelson, both those guys to be getting up to speed a little bit later just based off those foot surgeries that both those guys had. And while the Colts do have a good defense, I think there still are a lot of concerns about that offense and Carson Wentz trying to have a resurgence for his career. But with the Titans, just simply based off the talent, you would think they could turn it on, and they should be winning this division when you look at it. And they're fortunate because, I mean, it is one of the weaker divisions. You can't say the same thing about the NFC West. I mean, right now, all 4 teams won this past week. And, I mean, how are you guys thinking, like, okay, this division's ultimately going to play out?
That's what I was going to ask Lofa next. I mean, we go undefeated in the NFC West out here, and I mean, that division looks strong, man. Our division, I mean, Lofa.
Yeah. So, I mean, I got us winning it all. You know that. And the team I was most concerned about probably had the best showing, the Cardinals. And against the team that I have a lot of respect for, the Titans that are coming in to see us this week. So, I'm still sticking with, my call. The Niners, they got out into an incredible 40 to something lead, but they almost blew it coming down the stretch, ended up 41-33. That should not be happening if you have one of the best defenses, which they allegedly do. Now, turn around, look at the Rams. They had a good outing, right, on Sunday Night Football, whatever it was. Taking back my word, Stafford did look pretty good. I'll give him that.
Couple of blown coverages, though. A couple really blown coverages.
Oh, yeah. The guy's just wide open. Yeah, I know. But he still made the throw.
Cup wide open all the time,
Still made the throw. And, it was crazy. I mean, I didn't think that they did anything to win. I think McVay outcoached the Bears. I think that's what it came down to. Wasn't really impressed by the play of the Rams. I thought the defense was stout as usual. The Bears defense looked great too, other than the blown coverage, as you said. But so I'm still have us winning it. And I'm worried about the Cardinals, though. I am not going to lie. I am worried about the Cardinals.
I want to get a quick thought from each of you about Aaron Rodgers' hair. Who wants to jump in first? Because I hate hair, and I don't. I'm going to spell for Aaron because I know he loves to spell. I HATE it, and I know Packers fans do too. And reading Packers subreddit is the most entertaining thing on the internet, everybody, because Packers Nation is losing their mind and they hate hippie Aaron Rodgers. But how do you guys feel?
If I'm Aaron, I'm more concerned about my play than I am my hair. I mean, whenever you look at that performance, I mean,
I'm an actor, Davey, so I'm worried about the hair.
If I'm, like I said earlier, if I'm a Packers fan or if I'm a Titans fan, I'm thanking the Packers for having such a poor performance and taking some of that shine away from how bad the Titans played. But, I mean, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you've had this entire offseason, I say just go with it, man. You don't really care. I love the theories that he's just basically going in to sabotage the program from within. I don't have a dog in the fight, man. Do you?
That was a stinker on Sunday, though. I mean, Lofa, did you watch any of that game? That was not Packer football like we're used to seeing.
The only thing that looked good was his hair, I'll say. But this is what, because, Brett loves to talk about Aaron Rodgers on this show. Loves talking about quarterbacks. But this is kind of concerning on, from what I said, when you get to talking about, oh, well, I was 50-50 on retiring. And then you had the contract, and you had, all these different things.
Hosting Jeopardy and the getting into all the different other stuff. Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that it had the effect, but either the Saints are Super Bowl champions because they just embarrassed the Packers, or it had a little carryover into his play. I mean, I've never seen him just wing a ball up there. Like I've never seen him Brett Favre it, just drop back and throw one, Now, the kid made a hell of a play. It looked like he was leaning towards the left and helping, and then he just baseball turned and went the other way and caught the ball because it should have been one-on-one coverage. I saw what he saw, and I'm not really trying. Who am I to second guess Aaron Rodgers? But I've never seen that out of him, and that's kind of telling of like, hey, like, was this kind of like, oh shit, man, all the offseason stuff.
It's an interesting story to watch because, much more of this, and where does he go then next year? I know he is Aaron Rodgers, but everybody has a breaking point every once in a while, and I don't know, man, with that hair and with the attitude and with the way they played on the field, I'd be kind of just concerned anyway.
Now, if this, 38-3, you got to give some credit to my man Chris Richard and his defensive secondary that held them to 3. But even to see him pulled in the fourth quarter, 10 minutes to go, they put in Jordan Love. I didn't expect to see that. I thought he would have stuck it out and say, no, I'm finishing the game. So if this carries over for a couple more games, then I'm going to say that offseason stuff had a lot to do with it because, just them not seeing eye to eye and it's carrying over.
Yeah. Let's move on to our Zone In segment. Zone In CBD, the best CBD in the biz. It's Lofa's company. Use our promo code. Once again, Lofa.
Bleav, BLEAV.
EAV. Get 20% off at zoneincbd.com. You can sign up for a subscription. It just shows up. You don't have to think about it. Zoneincbd.com, everybody. Predictions, guys. Davey, what do you got? How do you see this thing shaping up on Sunday between the Seahawks and the Titans?
Before the season started, I had the Seahawks winning this game, and I didn't see enough from the Titans to make me change that prediction. I do think we're going to get a high-scoring affair, so at the end of the day, I see this game being around 38-30 with the Seahawks ultimately edging it out. I'm hoping it comes down to the fourth quarter, and I'm sure the Titans are going to have something. They're going to be more prepared than what we saw this past weekend.
I like the high scoring prediction. I'm going to go a little bit lower, and I always do a weird number just because for some reason Seahawks scores always end up weird. So give me the Seahawks 29, and I'm taking them over the Titans mostly just because it's at home. Give me the Titans at 27, 29-27. I think it's going to be tighter than we think.
Getting the cover, okay.
I think it's going to be a very close game. You have to worry about a team that just. No offense, got their ass kicked, and that's what happened. That's what happened last week.
Mike Vrabel's not going to stand.
Oh my God, Vrabel is getting after them right now, and then the players, they got some pride themselves, so and of course they know that we're good. They know that we won the division last year, and so it's you get up for a formidable opponent, right? Someone that should be in the top of their division. And they played us tough in the past. So I'm gonna go 31. I think it's gonna come down to a field goal. I'm gonna go 31-30. Hawks squeak it out at the end.
Wow. Is it a game-winning drive? Is it like a Jason Myers at the buzzer? Is that what we're talking about?
Oh yeah, it's a Russell Wilson finished by Jason Myers. Come on, man.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's a wrap for the Seahawks podcast this episode, everybody. Thanks out there for listening. If you got thoughts, email us, seahawkspod@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on any social media at Bleav in Seahawks. You guys can find Davey and the Titans podcast. It's Bleav in Titans anywhere you're listening to podcasts. Also, Davey is on social media at Davey_Hudson, HUDSON. Davey, thanks for jumping on, man.
Yeah, Lofa, I appreciate you guys having me. It was a lot of fun.
Anytime. Let's hope for a good game this weekend. But, of course, I'm hoping for a Seahawk win. We're out of here. Goodbye, everybody. Lofa, break us down. What do you got?
We'll see. Usually we break it down to something for the Seahawks, but I can't do that disrespectfully to my man. So we're just gonna go Bleav family.
All right, here's like at the end of practice.
Yeah, we all got our Bleav podcast. Bleav in Titans. Make sure you check our guy out. Bleav in Seahawks. That's where you're listening to this. So Bleav family. Bleav in family. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Bleav in family.
Family.